this video is to give you a quick overview of what you'll be required to do during the Crystallographic Planes Lab. The lab includes 4 stations, shown here. Each station includes a different activity that will allow you to examine new perspectives beyond the typical unit cells of the 3 metallic crystal structures discussed in class, FCC, BCC, and HCP, as well as simple cubic. The lab equipment that will be used is shown here and is as follows. Each station will be equipped with ball bearings. These represent individual atoms and will allow you to create the necessary crystallographic planes to complete this lab. They are shown here in Station 2. The crystallographic planes you will be examining have been designed onto ball bearing boards, shown here at each station. During this lab activity, you will be asked to examine the ball bearing boards to determine which planes are being shown, to identify closed packed planes and directions, and to determine coordination numbers. Along with the ball bearings and plane boards, styrofoam models have been provided as visual aids. As mentioned earlier, you will be completing activities at 4 stations. Station 1 is shown here and has 2 parts, parts 1 of 2 and part 2 of 2. The purpose of the first station is to examine the similarities and differences between the 100 planes of FCC, shown here, and the 100 plane of simple cubic, shown here. Upon first examination, they don't necessarily show any similarities. Use the styrofoam models as aids and build the structures on the ball bearing boards. The answer will become clear when you draw out the atom positions on your answer sheet. At each station, you will be asked questions relating to what you've learned in class. Try to make connections between the different planes and crystal structures. The second station, like the first, examines both FCC and simple cubic planes. You have been provided with the 110 plane of simple cubic, which is shown here. Look at the styrofoam model or draw out the unit cell to try and match the atom positions to a plane in the FCC unit cell. You'll also be asked to build both the FCC and simple cubic crystal structures. Think about the stacking pattern and what you know about coordination numbers to answer the lab handout questions. At the end of the Station 2 questions, after you've built the FCC structure, you are asked to draw the repeating pattern of atoms you see here along the longer side of the ball bearing board. The third station, shown here, asks you to make connections between FCC and HCP. You're given only one plane board, but in fact, the pattern of atoms you see exists in 2 planes, one in FCC and one in HCP. At the 4th station, you have been given no indication of what crystallographic plane you are looking at. Make sure to note the spacing between the atoms on the ball bearing board. How closely the atoms are to one another matters in answering the first question of the Station 4 portion of the lab handout. In Stations 3 and 4, you'll also be asked to make connections with other concepts introduced in class, such as ceramic crystal structures and terms such as interstitial sites. To prepare, please read the assigned sections of Chapter 3 that have been listed on the course website.